What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the podcast. Today, we're going to be giving our top 10 running backs in the upcoming NFL draft. We've each made our own separate list, and so we're just going to get started right away. And we'll start with McKay saying who his number one running back is.
So my number one is obviously going to be Ashton Jeanty. Easily the most well-rounded back in the class. He can do it all. Be a three-down back. Very powerful. Kind of reminds me of a juiced-up David Montgomery and the ability to make people miss while being a power back. It's just so rare. Such a rare prospect to come out. Definitely the best prospect to come out since at least Bijan. Definitely in that same tier of blue-chip running back. So I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up going easily in the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, both of our top one or our number one running backs are Ashton Jeanty because that is mine as well. But I think it's disrespectful to have him in the same tier as Bijan to Jeanty, just because I think Jeanty is, like you said, a blue chip running back, but I think a step above Bijan for sure. I think he's the best back since Barkley, easily. Coming out of a draft at least. And so I think he's just an amazing prospect. He's elite at so many things, and the things he isn't elite at, he's great and close to elite on the rest. So he's just absolutely phenomenal. An amazing back. It's really hard to find weaknesses. You have to be really, really nitpicky to just kind of find any weakness in his game. And I don't see a way it doesn't translate to the next level. I think if someone took him in the top 5, I think that's a justifiable pick in my eyes. I think he's that good. But obviously, I don't think that's going to happen. I think probably 6 to the Raiders, if not 10 to the Bears. So just an amazing prospect and easily going to go top 10, like you said.
I will say he has had a lot of touches the past 2 years, especially last year. He had like 300 and something touches, which after those seasons, you do see some regression typically. But he's just such a good prospect that I think it's worth that small risk as his only real weakness.
Yeah, no, that's very true because, I mean, most of the games this season he was getting north of 30 touches, so I just think that's very, very true. And, yeah, I think that's a worry, but like you said, it's worth the risk because it's like that's like the biggest – if that's your biggest worry, you're in good hands most of the time. But let's move on to where we're actually going to have some differing opinions from the public, because obviously everyone's got Jeanty at 1. But let's go to number 2. I'll let you start us off. Who do you have at your number 2?
I've got TreVeyon Henderson, and he's easily the best third down back in the class. His ability to pass protect, and also run routes, catch the ball. He's got such natural hands, and he never fumbles, and he can make people miss. He's really just the whole package. I don't understand how he's not consensus top 2, if not even top 3. I don't think anybody's on his level. And the NFL's moved towards a pass-heavy league, and so many teams just need a running back who can catch passes out of the backfield. So I just think I don't understand quite why people are underrating him and not taking him till late second round. I'd easily consider him maybe even back half of the first round. I think he's that good of a prospect.
Yeah, I actually completely agree. My guess is our running backs are going to be very different going down the board as they tend to be, but I actually do also have TreVeyon Henderson at number 2. I mean, if you just turn on the film, it's so obvious to me. I mean, I don't know what there's not to like. I mean, he's this elusive back that's also incredible at breaking tackles for his size and his play style. He is amazing in the pass game, like you said, the best third down back in the class. I don't think it's like a blowout, which we'll talk about later. I think there's a guy that's actually pretty decently close to him, but that guy also can't touch him in the realm of actually running the football. He has, in my opinion, I mean, of course, excluding Jeanty, but I think you could make an argument even with Jeanty in the sense of his agility, his side to side, and his cutting is just absolutely elite. And he just explodes through every hole. He's just such a good prospect. I mean, he really his play style and his ability really feels like it translates to the league. And I'd be super, super surprised if he doesn't work out for whatever team he gets drafted to. Like you said, it feels like he's super underrated right now. Most people have him to that 4 to 5 running back range, is what I see at least, maybe at most third. And I just think that's too low for him, obviously. And like you said, late second round. I mean, I would personally be happy if we took him at 20. Like the Broncos would take him at 20. I think that would be a great pick for us. I think he'd be a great pick for any team that needs a running back. And like you said, it's evolving into a pass-heavy league, and or already has evolved to a pass-heavy league. And so having a running back that's that good on the ground, but can also play that amazing in the pass game, a great pass blocker. He literally checks every box you could possibly need. And when you're scouting, and obviously he's got things that you would like to see him develop, but that doesn't mean he's not good at those things already. He just could get even better. So I think he's an amazing prospect.
And another thing with Henderson is he hasn't fumbled since his freshman year, which typically when you see elusive backs who can make people miss, they do tend to carry the ball a bit more loosely than your power backs who just try to get every yard.
For sure.
He's just able to secure the ball at such a high level for someone who's so good at making people miss. But I do notice that he only uses like one move. He doesn't like use one move, lead it into another to make multiple people miss to create the big play. I think that's something he can work on, but I haven't really seen that in his game yet. So I can't believe he's so underrated.
Yeah, no, for sure. He's an amazing prospect, and I think a lot of the time too, he doesn't even have to string those moves together. He's got an amazing supporting cast. Like that's like one of the that's probably the biggest thing I was worried about going into the film. But he showed me enough to just not care about it in a sense. But like a lot of time he's getting amazing blocking. He just gets in the open field and he has one guy to beat. But I also there are times that he just tends to just not even try to make the second guy miss or is not good at it. So I definitely think if that's the one thing you need to work on, though, like I said with Genty, like that's a great sign. So, but let's move on to number 3. This is where I have my hottest take of my top 10. So I'll let you start us off with probably a less hot take to get started.
So at number 3, I got Caleb Johnson. I mean, his cutting is a concern. His change of direction is a problem. But if he can just get a hole, he's a freight train in the open field. You cannot take him down once he gets his legs moving. Obviously, it does take him a bit too long to get there, which is why he's not higher. I mean, I'd say if he had the acceleration of, say, Omari and Hampton, I think he's RB1, which is insane. Wow. I mean, that's just like taking his weakness, making it the best in the class. So, obviously, he's not really close to Genty, but that just tells you how good he is at everything else besides being elusive and explosive. But he can catch the ball out of the backfield too really well, and if you can get him in the open space in any way you can, he's going to be elite and impossible to take down. So I think he's really being underrated because he's not this pass catching guy who's like fast. He ran a slow 40 time, so people just aren't talking about him. But on film, I think he's definitely faster than his, what it was at 4.55.
Yeah, it was pretty slow.
Yeah, so I think he's probably more of maybe just a 4.5 flat guy, but that's pretty good speed for the running back position.
Yeah, I actually agree with you. He looks a bit faster on the field. He's not getting caught from behind all the time, which is a great sign. With other guys, I've seen that this year even. So that's always a good sign, especially for his play style, where it's like you would be more okay with him getting caught because he's such a bruiser. Like you said, the cutting is just such a big concern for me, and that's why I have him a bit lower. I can't get past the inability to cut. There's no second cut. It's choose where you want to go, and he's bowling down. And, like, don't get me wrong, that works a lot of the time. Not as confident it'll work in the NFL as it did in college, though. And because of that, and, like, I'm not saying he's not going to be a great player. I think he's got tons of potential. I think he could be an amazing player in this league. My worry, though, is just that ability and of cutting and just being versatile, because he's really a one-way threat in my eyes. And you said even with the acceleration, I disagree. I still don't think he'd be the best in the class because you still wouldn't have that cutting ability. So, and I just don't, I think he just lacks the awareness in a way of like knowing where he should go next. He just is like, let me take on the contact, which works for some running backs, and so maybe it'll work for him. But I'd rather take what I think are safer options to work out in the league. But number 3, this is my hot take of the draft. I think this is the most underrated prospect by far. I have R.J. Harvey.
Oh my gosh.
From UCF.
No.
I know most people don't even have him in the top 7, 8 most of the time, but just hear me out. I think he is a phenomenal prospect. He is the most patient runner in the draft. I think he's phenomenally patient, and I love to see that in a running back, especially when he has a not good offensive line in the UCF offensive line. I mean, their whole team's not good. Their quarterback was terrible. Their offensive line was bad. So they're stacking the box with 8 guys against a bad offensive line, and he's still able to be patient, hang in there under pressure, get small, fit through the tiny holes that he has, get loose, break tackles. Or he's not amazing at breaking tackles, but he can when he needs to, and he's just so elusive that a lot of the time he doesn't have to break tackles. And I think that ability to play in those tougher conditions, and just all the things he's shown on film is going to translate into the league. He's a fast prospect. He's extremely shifty. And like I said, he's super, super patient. And so any team that has any sort of a passing identity is going to open up the field so much for him. And I don't think he's ever seen a field this open before. I mean, we were watching some of the film this morning, and you kept commenting on how you felt like the safeties kept coming down to the box. He had to run against 8-man boxes so much this year because they weren't scared of the guy throwing over the top. He was terrible. I don't even know his name, the UCF quarterback.
It's KJ Jefferson.
Yeah,
he's
terrible.
a runner. He's not
He's
much of a
really
passer.
bad at throwing. So they were always putting 8 men in the box, and he was still able to get loose, break people's ankles all the time, and he scored 22 touchdowns this season on 7 yards a carry. I mean, he performed phenomenally. He played some decent defenses like Arizona State. Even BYU was decent this year, Iowa State. So in that Big 12, and obviously he played some schools that weren't so good, just like everyone does. But I just think he's shown so much potential on the film, and it really, really excites me, especially where he's going. I think he's a steal and a half in whatever round. I think it's the 4th or 5th right now, but he's projected to go, and I just think that's so late for him. So I just think he's a phenomenal prospect, and I think he's just really being underrated right now.
I wish he had more routes to his game. Right now,
Yeah.
I didn't see him run anything besides flats and wheels. Like, we're watching other prospects, and they're running even just angle routes, which I didn't think he ran a single one of those. Maybe not even all year. Definitely not in the games I watched. And also, I feel like he bounces the ball. He bounces outside too many times.
Interesting.
And I've seen him caught by the edge rushers. Like, obviously, if he's going, they're not going to catch him. But just while he's cutting to the outside, I've seen the edge rushers grab him, tackle him at the line of scrimmage, when he could have just waited. As you said, he's patient sometimes, but sometimes he just forces cutting to the outside. So I don't know if he's going to translate.
I mean, and that's a very interesting point. I feel like whenever I see him get caught by the edge or caught by the D-line in general, most of the time he's already waited and realized I've got to go now. I've waited too long. And then like he can't even get to the outside because his blocking is so bad. Like I feel like even when the blocking is quote unquote good, what I see is the line standing there. They don't create holes ever. They don't open up the field. They don't push the D line back, which is what you're supposed to do on runs. You're supposed to push the line backwards, right? Or to the sides. They just kind of stay in place. Their good blocking is staying in place. Their bad blocking is letting them through. There's never like actually good blocking. So I feel like it's kind of unfair. And like I said, like they always have guys on the outside. They have extra men in the box. They have the corners playing press down to help with the run. So he's got so much more to beat to the outside. But like I said, like obviously that's hard to know how much that's going to translate to the league because you're going to get in a much better situation. But I think because you're in such a poor situation and it will perform this well, I think that just is going unnoticed in my opinion. But yeah, obviously that's a super hot take. I don't expect you to have him that high. I just think I think he's going to surprise people in the league. So, and like you said with his routes, I completely agree. I wish he ran more. I don't think he has the inability though. Like I've seen his hands be fine on the few routes that he does run. And I can see how shifty he is, so I would imagine that he's able to at least run some routes. It just felt like UCF didn't let him run any routes. And like you said, he only ran flats and wheels. So it's like maybe he will be a great route runner if he gets the opportunities. And I think some teams would definitely be willing to at least try that because you need a pass back, like you said, with Henderson. So I'm excited to see his development. I really hope he goes to a team that can really show off his full potential because I think he's got amazing, amazing ceiling. But let's move on to number 4, unless you have anything else to say about Harvey.
I will say, while he's stepping up in his offensive line's ability, the edge rushers are only getting more athletic. Like, the people actually making the NFL, they're almost as athletic as the running backs, most of them. So I do worry about, as I said, bouncing to the outside and NFL players being more athletic than him, which could easily be the case.
Yeah, well, we'll come back to this, at the end of the season, give our grades for each pick. Maybe I'm a genius, maybe I'm a complete idiot, and he doesn't even start this year, but we'll see.
I think that...
We'll see what happens. Let's move on to number 4. I'll start us off this time. I have Cam Scatterboo at number 4. So this was a flip back and forth for me between 4 and 5 so many times today. It happened over and over and over again. I think he's very, very close to the next guy. He's just very consistent. When I see Cam Scatterboo, he's constantly falling forward. He's running over people to get those extra couple of yards every single time, and he's rarely getting tackled behind the line of scrimmage, which is great in a prospect. But what I love about that is that he also has some great big plays. He has the great big playability, and it's like a weird player to me because we talked about this, but he's just kind of a weird, like he's really short, and bulky kind of build, and it's like he plays this huge power back. Like he tries to play like he's a really, really big back. But then also like with his style, you wouldn't expect him to be this, but he's actually an amazing receiving threat as well. He's got great route running, great hands, and he's just been able to showcase that he can be an every down back and get tons and tons of carries and a huge workload, which, like you said, is kind of a problem in some scenarios because it's like he's got too much tread on the tires. But I think that in his case, he's shown that he can handle it and just be that player that he was the entire Arizona State offense. I mean, straight up. So I think that he showcased what he can do, even against the top level defenders on the biggest stage, like with the Texas game in the playoffs. He just played absolutely phenomenal, and I think that he's an amazing player. And because of his ceiling, I ended up putting him above number 5, which we'll talk about in just a second. But I think it's very close, and I just think he's a great prospect. And any other year, I think he's competing for number 1 back in the draft easily. But this class is just ridiculously stacked.
Yeah, I mean, last season we had Trey Benson. I guess he was a second back, but I liked him the best. But then you had Jonathan Brooks, who came off an ACL tear and had started one season. He was the number 1 back in that class. So I think this class is a lot better. And Scatterboo was their whole offense. They stacked the box a lot more than maybe even any other team since, besides Ashton Genty. He was stacked a lot against Penn State specifically. But they have their quarterback. He sucks. Like, I don't know why people are talking about him right now. Like, for next season, I don't think he's that good.
Sam Levitt, or whatever his name is. Leave
something like that. But, yeah, as you said, great pass catcher. And he is, like, 215? And he's able to break these tackles because he sets his body up to be in good positions to break the tackles, rather than, like, Caleb Johnson, who's a freight train, impossible to tackle because he's powerful and huge. Like, Scatterboo isn't huge. He's dense because he's like 5'8", but you see him preparing for the hit, which is just such an advanced thing for a college back to do. So,
yeah, I mean, he's a great prospect. But who's your number 4?
My number 4 is Omari Hampton.
Okay, so that's actually my number 5. That's the one I was flipping back between over and over again.
Yeah, I think he's a lot more explosive, at least in the short area. His acceleration's amazing. His vision's kind of being a little bit underrated. I like his ability to be patient and then just explode when he finds the opening. But once he gets into the open fields, I don't think he's as good of a tackle breaker as the other power backs in the class. And also, he's not super shifty. So I don't understand why he's being considered in the first round with these limitations that you normally see in every down backs, where they can make people miss, get to the second level, outrun the defense once they break free. I just don't understand why he's being talked about as the second back. And even in some cases, people are saying he's in the same tier as Genty, which I think is so disrespectful.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like I said, I think it's close between him and Scatterboo for the 4th spot. I'm at 5, but him as the number 2 or even close to Genty is just ridiculous. I don't think he deserves to go in the first round, period. The fact that he might go to 10 or 12 is just crazy to me. Even if it is all smoke and mirrors, it's just crazy that it's even a possibility. He's a great back, don't get me wrong. I think his floor is some of the highest in the entire class. But it's just about the ceiling. I'm not so confident in that ceiling. He really does get caught from behind so much, and that really does worry me. It's like that top-end speed. I think it's a little bit worse on film than it is at the combine. Because he's getting caught from behind more than like Caleb Johnson, and Caleb Johnson should be getting caught from behind a lot more than him. Like you said, his acceleration is very, very, very good. His vision is very, very good. But I just don't know how much you can only go off of that. I think that he could be a consistent back. I just don't ever see him getting those huge plays. If he plays really athletic defensive line, I'm kind of worried about it. But because of that acceleration, because of that vision, I think it's going to carry him enough to be a good running back in this league. It's just I'm worried about him being a great running back in this league. And because of Scatterboo's elite, break tackle ability and just the ability to be an every down back and his better receiving ability, I just think that I'd rather have him over Hampton and just all the other guys for all the other reasons we've already talked about. Just because of that ceiling, I think it's so much higher than Hampton. But I think Hampton's floor is arguably higher than all of them but Genty and maybe Henderson. So, yeah, but I think it's very, very close. Who was your number 5 since I already talked about mine?
My number 5 was Cam Scatterboo, so we kind of had them flipped. I also had them very, very close to each other. I ended up going with Hampton because I feel pretty confident he's going to be a top 12 back. Like, I feel like there's probably like a 70% chance he might be a top 12 back. Whereas Scatterboo, I can see his game just not translating. But also Scatterboo could be a top 5 guy if everything works out for him well. As you said, I don't think Hampton has that same level of potential to be extremely high end back, because you see the high end backs are able to make the big play when it's there. Like Saquon had like, I don't know how many 50-plus yard runs, but it was the NFL record.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry has that speed when he gets the open space that he's going to make the big play. Whereas Hampton, if he gets the big play, the big spacing, if he makes it even, he might get 50 yards, which is excellent, but you want to be able to finish the play with a touchdown.
Exactly.
So.
Like, he's never going to get, in my eyes, he's never going to get those 70-yard touchdowns. The first play from, a touchdown, I just don't see it ever happening. I think safeties, especially in the NFL, are going to catch him so much. And if the safeties aren't coming down in the box, I just think there's no way he's getting more than 20-ish yards here. I don't think his elusiveness is good enough to constantly save him from those types of scenarios. Even though it's good, it's just not. It's not on the level of some of these other guys, in my opinion. So my number 6 back, I have Caleb Johnson here. Obviously, quite a bit lower than where you have him, but like I said already, because we already talked about him quite a bit, I just think the lack of cutting is so nerve-wracking for me. I'm not so when I see guys that are amazing at breaking tackles, that are just freight trains, like you said, like they just run everyone over, it worries me. But he played at a school like Iowa. It's like he was their whole offense, and he's playing a lot of schools that aren't good. He played at some good schools, don't get me wrong, but he played a lot of schools that aren't good, and it's a lot easier to break those tackles and look like a freight train when you're playing worse schools. I mean, we all know that. And when he gets to the NFL, he was playing a lot bigger, more athletic defenders, and it's like, how much is that going to translate? How many defenders are you actually going to be able to run over? When it comes to this big stage, it comes to this level of play, but I still think he's a great prospect. I mean, he's able to show that he could beat Iowa's entire offense. And we can't deny how good he was at breaking those tackles, how he's got decent speed for his size and ability, and he's a surprisingly good pass catcher. So I think he's still a great prospect. It's just I can't justify putting him any higher. You've got to be so nitpicky with these guys. I mean, all of these guys are so close. I think 3 through 6 is just incredibly close. Jetsy's obviously in a tier of his own. I think Henderson's a tier above these other guys. And then I think 3 through 6 is just extremely close. I think they're all super talented. This could literally go down as the most stacked running back class ever if all these guys end up working out at least a little bit. I just think it's a ridiculous class.
All right, now with my number 6, I'm going to do who's actually the most underrated back. Instead of R.J. Harvey, it's going to be DJ Giddens. He has so much potential to be an every down back. I don't know what people don't like about him. I mean, he's like 220 pounds. He's explosive. He's able to make people miss. His elusiveness is amazing. For being 220, you'd think he'd be more of a power back. I see him as a lot more of an elusive back, but obviously he can do both. That's why I really like him. He's super well-rounded. His vision is pretty good, and well, his top-end speed isn't phenomenal. I think he did slim down at the combine. I think he's heavier on film. I think he slimmed down at the combine to make his 40 time look better. And I've just been lately, while watching film, I was really just sipping the DJ Giddens Kool-Aid.
Well, I just think that's like a terrible spot for him. Spoiler alert, I don't like DJ Giddens at all. You really said you don't know what what people don't like about him. I'll tell you what people don't like about him. Like you said, his top end speed is just not good for an elusive back. Like, being straight up, it's way too slow for his play style, and that's because he's a bit heavier for his play style. If you're going to be heavier and be an elusive back, you need to be good at breaking tackles. I feel like he's not good at breaking tackles. He's below average in my eyes, especially for this class. I think
being an elusive back, it's pretty good in my opinion.
He's 220. Like, he should be able to break more tackles. He weighs more than Cam Scatterbo. Like, that's ridiculous. I think that, I don't know, he just underwhelms me in everything that he does. He's decent at everything. He's a decent route runner, like you said, but I just feel like you're definitely sipping too much DJ Kool-Aid, because I think that he's just underwhelming in a lot of aspects of his game, especially the speed department, and especially, I think it's just his elusiveness is just kind of overrated. He doesn't have a lot of those big plays. A lot of his highlights are like 20 yards max, and then a lot of his film is just like, getting tackled at the line of scrimmage, and every once in a while he'll bust out a 10-yard gain. I feel like that happens just way too much.
He averaged 7 yards per carry, just like your boy R.J. Harvey.
Yeah, but he has way better offensive line.
He played way better teams.
He played a way better. They're in the same conference.
Yeah, I know, but when I was watching the highlights for R.J. Harvey, it's New Hampshire.
Okay, so he played New Hampshire at week 1, and that apparently means his whole highlight reel sucks.
Mhm.
I mean, if you guys want to go watch R.J. Harvey for yourself and actually figure out that he's a great running back, apparently McKay can only watch the first minute of a video. But I think that DJ Giddens is just extremely overrated from you. I think he's properly rated by most people, and that's in the 10 to 12 range.
So if you think that's properly rated, then why don't you have him at 3?
I'm talking about DJ
Oh.
Giddens.
So you're saying R.J. Harvey was properly rated? I was
No.
like, that makes no sense.
No, DJ Giddens is very overrated, or by you, and I think he's properly rated by most people at like the 10 to 12 range.
Way to
So-
spoil where you have him.
Well, we'll see if he's made it on my list. I said 10 to 12, but I just think that he underwhelms me in so many ways. But let's move on before I get too heated about DJ Giddens. Let's move on to number 7. I'll start us off with Brashard Smith. I think he's extremely underrated. We want to talk about underrated prospects. Let's talk about Brashard Smith. Phenomenal prospect in my eyes. He was formerly a wide receiver, for those that don't know. He switched to running back this year. Obviously, already a great start when you're talked about as a running back prospect that's going to get drafted in the first 4 or 5 rounds. When, you played running back for 1 season in college. You played wide receiver the rest of your entire career. So you've got almost no tread on the tires. You've got, this amazing receiving ability, as you should. He's a wide receiver. He's got amazing routes, the best hands in the class. It's not close. Obviously, he should. I just think that his running ability also really surprised me for how fast he was able to adapt and become a running back. I feel like his vision is way better than I think it would be for a wide receiver. I think he's very fast, very agile, very elusive, and he's surprisingly decent at breaking tackles for a 5'9", like 185 or whatever he is. He's very small. And that's like my biggest concern with him, is kind of undersized. But I think the reason I have him here is because I think that his floor is just a third down back that comes in and catches the ball. I mean, we have plenty of those in the league right now. And if you're taking that in round 4 or 5 and that's the floor, it's an amazing pick, because at least you're keeping this guy that can at least help you win in some sort of way. And if he works out, he's going to be a great running back. And I think he has tons and tons of potential. He's only had 1 year as a running back. He's already get drafted in the first 4 or 5 rounds, like I said. So I think he's got so much potential and so many good days ahead of him. And I just think that having that as your floor when you have that much potential is just such a good sign, especially this late in the draft. I think it's a steal.
Definitely. I mean, he was a guy who had 700 yards receiving last season for Miami. Like, I just don't understand how anybody could be low on Brashard Smith. Like, I've seen him in, like, the 200s of big boards. Like, what are you doing? It's like we saw the same thing with Tyrone Tracy last year. How do you think it... Obviously, it might not work again, but it's worked before. So, in 1 year. And third down backs are... There's so many third down backs that just suck. Like, J.D. McKissick was a third down back for, like, 5 years. Samaje Perine been a running back. Like, not a running back. A third down back for years. He sucks at catching the ball. Like, he's so undynamic. Why are people not higher on Brashard Smith? I'll spoil it. He's 8 for me, so I'm also higher on him.
Yeah.
So, he's such an advanced for how far he should be along. But I do think, as a pure running back, his vision is not good. But it's still developing. He's played it for 1 year. Most of these guys have been playing running back for 8 years.
Yeah,
so.
for sure. Well, who's your number 7 then?
My number 7 is Dylan Sampson.
Okay.
He's very explosive, but for me, he was really hard to evaluate because that Tennessee offense is so weird.
100%.
They have like so much. They create so much space. I don't know what they're doing, but he just doesn't have to do as much as you'd like to see him do for how high people want to take him. I've seen him mocked in the 2nd round, and I think that's wild. I think PFF, is it PFF that has him like above Travion Henderson?
Yeah.
Like, what? It doesn't make any sense. He's elusive. He's a good back. I feel confident he will be probably a second back, a change of pace back, but I can't justify taking that in the 2nd round.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I don't even have Sampson at 8. I'll just tell you that right now. I have him a little bit lower because, like you said, I just think he's very overrated right now. I think that he's fine. Like, he's a fine prospect, and the way people are talking about him, though, they're acting like we don't have, like, a generationally good running back class. Like, I don't know why we would use him, take him in the 2nd round when you could take so many better guys in the 4th round, in my opinion. So I think it's just a weird outlook on him. Like you said, they get so much space, so I think he looks a little bit better than maybe he is. He's not asked to do a ton in the run game, in the pass game, and he can be explosive, and I think his ceiling is pretty decent still. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if he's a great running back in this league. I just think that everyone I have above him, I think, has more potential or a much higher floor in Amari Hampton's case. But everybody else, I think, has higher potential, including Brashard Smith. I think he has much higher potential than Dylan Sampson. And because of that, I put him above. Like I said, everything's so nitpicky. You've got to figure out what you value more in running backs because everybody is so close in a lot of different tiers. But I think that he's a fine running back. He's just not anyone I'm jumping at the opportunity to draft, if that makes sense. But my number 8 is Jaden Blue. So I know this is like
Really?
crazy high for Jaden Blue. I've seen a couple people be high on him, but I just think he's so explosive. I mean, he's so fast. His combine 40 time was just not as fast as I was expecting to be. I think he's way faster on the film. I think he ran a faster time at his pro day too. But he's so explosive. I think I'm purely putting him here because of the upside. I would love to see what he did with more carries, more opportunity. But that can also be an upside of like he didn't take that many hits this season. He played the great supporting cast, but he also played in the SEC, played some of the best defenses in the country this season. Week in, week out, and he still was able to perform. Even in the playoffs, he looked amazing. He looked better than he did all season in the playoffs. I just think that with how explosive he is, how fast and quick he is, how elusive he is, he's just got so much potential that I'm willing to put him at 8 over some of these other guys like Dylan Sampson, for example, because I just think that I just think that that's so valuable with how much upside there is there, and I'm willing to take a chance on it, especially for where he's going. I would really like to see him work on his vision. That does kind of worry me, and I'd love to see him. I mean, he's just too small to really be like a presence in the broken tackle game, but he's another guy that I feel like can be. He's a good receiver though, and I feel like he's another guy that can at least be a third down back for someone, at least be a change of pace back for someone. So when your upside's that high, it's worth the pick to me.
A thing with him is, as you said, he hasn't had much tread on the tire. His total carries, he's had 130 carries.
Yeah.
Like, Ashton Genty had at least more than double that this season, and he was also a workhorse his whole career.
I think he had triple that at least.
Yeah, something like that. But he has never really had the chance to start, which is why I'd like him to. I think he should have not declared and then transferred, try to be a starter for someone, just show he could be an earlier pick. Like right now, he's probably going the 5th or 6th round when he could have maybe been a 3rd round pick. So I just don't really understand that decision from him.
Yeah, but I still think he's a great prospect nonetheless. I don't know where you have him, but I just think he's got a ton of potential. And while he hasn't proven it, like you said, necessarily, I think that you still take a chance on him where he's going with the upside. Well, let's move on to number 9. Who do you have at your number 9?
So my number 9 is a guy who a lot of people are probably confused why neither of us have mentioned him, Quinshon Judkins. I do see a lot of issues with his game. I don't see a world, like with Hampton, he's overrated, but I see a very likely world where he's a top 12 back in the league. For Judkins, he might be a Najee Harris level player. Like, why are we taking that in round 2 or in some cases round 1, which is wild?
Exactly.
Being in the same offense as Travion Henderson, where Henderson looked so much better, I don't understand how anybody could have Judkins higher unless you really like his play style better, which I just don't understand. For being a power back, not that powerful. He's a terrible blocker in my opinion. Like Henderson just looked so much better of a blocker, more comfortable, and he needs to work on his vision too. I don't see anybody talking about his vision. It's not that good. It's like he thinks he can break every tackle, but he can't. I mean, I know a lot of people liked his Ole Miss tape, but with that logic, why are people out on Ollie Gordon, like out of Oklahoma State? He had an insane year 2 years ago, but this season was terrible. I don't know why everybody likes Judkins so much.
I actually also have Judkins here. Obviously, we've both been way further down on him than most people. I've seen people putting him at 3 in the class, and it's just like, what is happening? I think he's falling victim to a case of this class is stupid. Like, it's stupid. Like I've said so many times, it's stupid, stacked. And so he's falling a victim to that because I just don't think he can keep up with these other guys. His ceiling's just nowhere near as high as anyone we've talked about up to this point. And while I think he's a fine back, I think he can be fine. Like you said, he's not powerful enough for a power back. I think Henderson's more powerful than him, arguably. And they're on the same team, and he's an elusive back, and they're third down back. In a lot of scenarios, he's more powerful than him. At the goal line, I wouldn't say that, but like he just runs people over more often, in my opinion, breaks more tackles. And I just think that the fact that he's been anywhere near the first round is just absolutely insane. Like, there's nothing special with this guy, in my opinion. He's like not that fast, not a crazy athlete by any means, and he's just Like, he's just an prospect to me, and I would just never take him in the draft purely because of where he's going. Like I've seen people be like, "Oh yeah, the Broncos should take him at 20." No, 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 no. If we take him at 20, I'm going to make it a video. I'm going to post a short being like, "Guys, this was the worst pick ever. I hope he's off the team in 2 years because this is ridiculous."
I mean, I hope he's amazing.
Well, I hope he work out, obviously, but like I just hope he's off the team as soon as possible because I don't think it would work out. And so I just think he's so overrated, and it's just insane to me, like you said, how overrated he's become in this draft class. But let's move on to number 10, our last one before we'll talk about a couple honorable mentions. My number 10 is someone we've already talked about, so I'll go first. Mine is Dylan Sampson. Obviously, I haven't mentioned him yet. We already talked about why he kind of just worries me. He's another prospect I'm just like, eh. Him and Judkins are very reversible for me. I think they're both about the same level right now. I think Sampson's ceiling's a lot higher than Judkins, but I would say Judkins is more reliable in the sense of he could just at least come in and run straight forward. like you said, he's kind of like a Najee Harris type player. I know a lot of people are going to be mad about that because people are like love Najee for whatever reason, but
I don't think he's as dynamic as Najee.
Well, and that's just not saying anything. I just think that I mean, honestly, you could easily put Sampson above Judkins in my eyes, but I just think that if you're like a Najee Harris player is at least usable, and I just think there's a world where Sampson sucks, and that worries me. I think most likely he won't, don't get me wrong, but there is a world where it happens, so I just ended up putting him here at 10. But who's your number 10?
My number 10 is a guy who I don't even know if most people know who he is. It's Jarquez Hunter.
So you don't even have R.G. Harvey on your list.
He's coming up quite soon, but I did watch like 15 backs, so.
Yeah, I mean, that's just too low for Harvey, man. Come on.
You're taking away the steam of Jarquez Hunter.
Okay, you go ahead. You take the floor.
So he's this powerful guy who kind of do it all. Like, he's kind of like how I said with Giddens, he's a bigger back, but he can do everything. But Hunter is kind of like a lesser version of that. He kind of reminds me of Kareem Hunt in his ability to make people miss while being powerful and having some receiving ability. For whatever reason, Hunt has been a receiving back most of his career, even though I don't feel like he's that good at it. Kind of reminds me of Hunter. I feel like fairly confident he'll be a backup running back, which at 10, that's kind of like where you start getting those guys. I mean, I kind of feel the same about Judkins. He's going to be a backup running back in my eyes, so I think it's a good spot for him. Did you watch Hunter?
I haven't watched Hunter yet. I probably will before the draft, just so I get a better idea of where he's at and everything. But I just think that if you think he's going to be a backup running back, putting Harvey below him is insane to me. Because even if you think Harvey's going to be a backup, which I just completely disagree with for all the reasons I've already talked about, I mean, he has way more potential than a guy you think is going to be a backup. Like, his potential is very good. If he works out, and, like, the things I'm saying were, like, if he gets a good line, he'll work out. If that happens, like, easily going to be a phenomenal running back. I mean, he's got all the tools that you could possibly need. But, I mean, obviously, you clearly disagree. Like I said, my number 10 is Dylan Sampson. I think he could easily be a backup. But let's move on to our honorable mentions, or number 11 through 14 or whatever it may be. Do you have any honorable mentions you want to talk about first?
Well, Harvey was my running back 11, so he just missed the list.
Okay.
Jaden Blue, you already talked about him. He's my 12.
Interesting.
A couple other guys I watched Jordan James.
He's terrible. I
don't think he's bad. I think he'll be a third
string. That's bad.
Yeah. So, like, people are saying, like, 5th or 6th round. That might be a bit early, but, like, he's a 7th round pick. That's fine. You have a third
if you took him in the
rookie
7th,
contract.
I think that there's a chance he goes in the 5th, though. Because
that'd be kind of crazy with this class.
Because people are kind of like, yeah, he's a sleeper. So, I mean, if any NFL team thinks that, like, you're going to tell me you can't see the Browns just being like, oh, let's take the guy from Oregon. Like, I just think that could happen. But
why does that feel like it could happen?
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Oh.
But
he just reminds me of Jerome Ford.
Yeah, I mean, he's...
That's why.
I mean, he's not good at all. Another guy that we both watched, I know you watched at least, is Devin Neal. I think Devin Neal sucks. This is gonna upset some people because I think Devin Neal is one of the most like, oh, he's a sleeper. He's the best sleeper pick of his draft. I've seen so many Broncos fans saying we should take him in the later rounds along with a running back in the earlier rounds. Why? He has no upside. Mm-hmm. He's got no strengths to his game. He just sucks at everything. Like, no offense to Devin Neal if you're watching this, bro, but, like, I don't, like, great, you're going to get your payday and stuff in the NFL. I just don't think that he's going to work out at all. I mean, after, I think, just a couple games, we'll be able to see he's not up to the speed of these NFL athletes. I just don't think he's anywhere near it. So I think it's crazy that people are, like, so high on Devin Neal because I've seen a ton of people be high.
I don't think he's garbage at everything. I just think he's whatever at everything.
I think he's below average at everything.
So, yeah, I don't understand that hype.
Is there anyone else that you watched that you want to bring up?
I want to bring up Tootin.
Yes, he's terrible.
He ran like a 4.3 flat at the combine, so
Very
he's got
fast.
legit home run speed, but his vision is horrific, and his elusiveness isn't that good for that speed. But the worst part is he's a 5% fumble rate, which means if he touches the ball 20 times in the game, he's gonna fumble once.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That's like historically bad.
Uh-huh.
But like with Tootin, I felt like when I watched the highlights and the film, I don't know if I saw him break a single tackle in either. Which is like, I get he's small and fast, but like, come on, you got to break one tackle every once in a while. Like even Jaden Blue breaks a couple tackles, so I don't know. I think he's very not anyone I would get like touch with a 10-foot pole. JD Gins was in my honorable mentions just
What
to
rank
circle back.
do you think he'd be?
I think he's around 11 or 12.
So we're kind of swapped with Harvey and Giddens.
Yeah, but I just think, well, I mean, I don't know why you have him so high and
I'm at 6,
hate
you have Harvey at 3.
Yeah, I think Harvey's
That's crazy.
everything that Giddens is good at. I think Harvey's better at, and then Harvey also has strengths in things that Giddens sucks at. So I don't get it personally. But I mean, we'll see. We're gonna make a video at the end of the year talking about what we were wrong and what we were right about. So we'll see who got more right. But if there's no more running backs, I can't think of any more that I watched.
Yeah.
Oh, Trevor Etienne, I think I watched for a little bit.
Okay.
Don't watch him. He's a waste of time. He's fine. He's just a below average athlete with below average carries, and he was not very good. That's another guy I think people want to take, like in the 4th or 5th round in some scenarios. I'm just like, whoa, let's calm down. Like that's way too high. I don't even know if I'd draft him at all, to be honest. Like he's just not good in my opinion. But I think that's the last back that I watched.
I also watched Damian Martinez, who is a lot of people's sleeper backs in this class.
Yeah.
I think he's maybe 9th on people's boards. I think he might have been my like RB 13 or 14 above Jordan James, wherever I put him. He's fine. I feel like he could be a lower end RB2, something in that range, but I don't really understand the hype of him being like even like a day 2 pick at all, or like a 4th round pick. I think that's still too high. I mean, did you watch him?
I didn't watch Martinez, but I've heard a lot of people talking about him. But just from scouting reports, I was just kind of like, this guy doesn't sound like anything cool or special. But yeah, those are our top 10 running backs for this upcoming NFL draft. Let us know who you thought had the better list, who you agree more with, and yeah. But I thank you guys for watching. We appreciate it, and see you guys next week.